Okay, so this is on how to edit stuff on Warrior's Heart. So it's all WordPress. So it's very straightforward. It's using WP Bakery as the store as the page builder. But essentially, this is the site. But what we're going to go through is just how to update. Probably the most common one is underneath About Us. It's the Meet the Team. Although you might be adding on additional pages. So if we go into the back end, we can go under Pages, like right here. Go to all pages, and then what we're going to find is a whole lot of pages that have been created along with a lot of posts. They use posts primarily for sometimes blogs, but mostly for what we're about to do. So as we add in members to the team, I'll just go to that page. Actually, I'm going to show you what the page looks like. So meet the team. Again, this is probably going to be the most common edits that we have. So there's a couple different parts to this. So there are these buttons that identify that are hot linked to their profile. So like Lisa Lannon, it'll go to her page, right? Or to her part of this page. Now this goes from, in terms of backgrounds, it goes white to this pink gray kind of thing, light gray, back to white. It naturally does that by the theme settings, okay? So you don't have to worry about that. But in the back end, we can make all these changes. Now, on each one of these pictures, it goes from their profile shot to what we call the warrior shot. So it's basically them doing what they originally did, which most of them are, or a lot of them are military or of some sort of warrior class, law enforcement, whatever it might be, right? So, anyways, how we do this, how we update this page, and we have one to add in today, and that's what the whole purpose of this is for, is we can either do edit page right here, or you can find the page in here by typing in and then hit enter, and you'll see meet the team in just a moment when it pops up. So you could also go, so this is the meet the team right here. This is the parent, and then there's the different sections like clinical. I always do it in the master file. I find it easier. So let's go to edit, right? And then once we're in this one, again, this might be all rudimentary and easy to do, but I just want to walk through each step because there is a couple steps that you have to follow, okay? So once we're in the section, it's going to come up. It's got a lot of content in it, so it's going to take a moment to catch up. Um, and this is where we add in the content. So basically what's going to happen is we have a couple different things going on. We have some edits to the site we have to make, as well as we have bios that we need to put up for the person we're adding, which is Louis. So I've already saved that. There it is. So this is the text document we're going to use to just add in Louis Moreno into the system. And so we want to add him to this Meet the Team page. So what's going to happen whenever we get emails in, we're going to get assigned where this person actually fits into the mold of, are they on the executive team, the medical team, the clinical team, the operations, client relations team, admissions team, support team, or the canine team. And most likely not in canine, but you never know. Because there's mostly dogs down there, but there is trainers. So executive team, we have the founders that are not listed in this because they're at the very top. But say if we wanted to see operations, right? It'll take us to the operations team. Again, it's just a big long scroll page. And then it'll show every single member of that page so they can click and find out. So if I wanted to learn more about the chief chef, top chef, that's Zach. We can click on him and there he is, right? There's him in action. This is all what he's got going on. Anyway, so this is how it all works. And then they always have this thing called My Why, which we're going to go through in a moment. And of course, what their title is. So he's an executive chef, not top chef, but he's fantastic. So once we're on the page, what we want to do is we want to first find the section that we're going to get into. And oftentimes they'll say, hey, we want this person to be below, say, in this case, let's say it's Matt Wajak, right? So what we do is we come down below here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up this form and see what it says. So add Louis to the support team under Annette Hill, okay? And his title is merch. Okay, because he does merchandise. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in, just doing a find. So I'm going to do a find for Annette Hill. And boom, there we are. So as you can see right here, this is, okay. So there's two different things going on here. So let me just go to the front end to show you this. So support team, here we go. So we have Annette Hill, then Donna, right? So we have Annette Hill right there, right? Then we have Donna. So we need to put it in between these two. So what we're doing, and we always have this listing at the top. This is like a mini navigation, okay? So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this whole piece. It's as easy as clicking here. And what it's going to do in just a moment is it's going to create a new version of itself. So this is the original one, right? This is Annette Hill. And then this is the second one. So we're going to go ahead and edit this one. And what we're going to do is there's a couple of different things. We have to adjust the images. So the one looking on this one right here is this top one is always going to be the image. You'll know because one looks like a profile shot and one looks like a fun shot. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and switch this for Louis. And I have these two images on my desktop, so I'll know which one they are. So the first one is we're going to upload the file. And we're going to pick Louis, so Louis Warrior, and then there's Louis Moreno 200 by 200. That's the one I know for sure is his profile shot because he's a deputy sheriff. And then sorry, let me just go again. Yes, that image, perfect, it's there. We're going to hit save changes and you'll see it gets changed right there. And then we're going to put in his warrior shot, right? So same thing, we come down here, we click on this, we click again. So just in case you didn't see that, we go here and we click on this image because we're adding, and we're going to go ahead and add him. And then the second one is going to be this Louis Warrior. So we're going to add that in. Okay, so that's him with his wife Christina, who is our CFO, Chief Financial Officer. So basically we add that in and we hit save, and then you'll see this picture gets updated, right? So boom, we got that. Next, we've got to fix this section where it says Annette T. Hill to be Louis Moreno, and we always want to make sure the spelling is correct. So we're going to just copy straight from here. And right here where it says Annette T. Hill, we're going to paste this in here. Oops, sorry. I always like to keep it just in the same section so we know that we overwrite the same thing. So it's a heading 2. And in this case, we're going to say merch. And we're going to get rid of this part. Okay? We hit save. So that saves that section. Right? And then, oh, I see she doesn't have a Y. That's interesting. Neither do they. Hold on. There's this thing that we add into every single one of them that says there's a Y for each one of these people. There it is, my Y. So we want to do this. So we want to go ahead and copy this. We're going to clone this box. And I'll tell you why, because most of them will have a biography. And then they have, oh, he doesn't have a Y. Okay, well, that might be why. Maybe because they're support. But oftentimes, when they're actually so support is support, but when they're actually part of the team, there always will be a my Y. And what we do is we actually create a blog out of that. And I'll show you how I would have done that. But let me just go back up to Louis and get this stuff in before it gets too confusing. So let's go back. So here's Louis. Obviously, we have that all correct. And then we're going to change this. So we click on this text box. It's going to pop up. And what we're going to do is just copy the whole thing here, right? And we're going to go into here, just copy and paste. And we'll hit save. And then in a moment, it'll catch up so we can see Louis Moreno, right? And that's all saved. That's all good. It looks great. The last thing we need to do in this particular section, because it doesn't have the my Y, actually there's two things, but one will be inside the section, it's all defined for what's called an anchor tag. So I'll show you what that means. So basically, above we're going to fix something in the menu system, but here, see where it says the anchor is Annette T. Hill? That means it's going to go to that particular box because this is no longer Annette, it's Louis. So we're going to put Louis Moreno, right? And we're going to copy this, save the changes. So now this whole box is defined as, if anybody clicks on hashtag Louis Moreno, this is where it comes down to. But now we need to add them into this subcategory. So that is these right here, these little sub-navigation buttons. We're going to put them between these two. The fastest way I know how to do this without having too many errors, if we hit edit, right? And we say view text over here on this right-hand side. The top one is Annette, the next one is Donna. See how it has this piece of code on here? So we know that's what should be showing, because that actually, this particular piece of code right here is what creates that box. So I just hit enter, and in between this, because I know it's between Annette and Donna, I'm going to paste, and then I'm going to go across here, and I'm going to type in the Louis Moreno one that I had just typed in from the anchor box, which would have been Louis dash Moreno, right? And then we put Louis Moreno as regular. And what I always do is two things. I check here, make sure it looks good. I hit save. It looks good. And then I'll do an update. I'll just do a quick update here. There's one more thing I want to show you, but that's the basis of adding a new person. Again, pretty straightforward. But so what's going to happen is once it gets refreshed, and I'll let it just catch up, I'm going to go ahead and refresh the Meet the Team. And we'll see Louis will appear right here if it all saved. So support team, there it is, Louis Moreno. Now, if you notice this doesn't have the border around it, which has happened to me multiple times, go back and just go back into that little section we were just in, the navigation area, and make sure the code is exactly the same as the ones above. If you just copy and pasted it in there, it'll be great. It's still coming up. So we want to check that Louis Moreno works, so please always double check. We click on this, we go over it and make sure that the image switches, and we just make sure all this is correct. And that looks good. And notice how it automatically changes from gray to white to gray to white to gray to white. Again, that's because of the way that it's been set up. And that's how you add in a new person. Now, on anybody else, you would also have to add in that my Y portion, and I'll show you why as soon as this loads in. Okay, so basically we've got all this in. As you can see on everybody else's profile, they always have this thing called a MyY. And so all you would do is, let's say Louis had a MyY. That's like why you get up in the morning to come to Warrior's Heart. So what we do is when you duplicate it, there will always be this here, unless you're duplicating a support person. Always try to duplicate somebody who has the MyY in there. What you're going to do now is, if this was Louis, this is Angel, so don't change this one, but if I was to do this, I would go in here and see what says MyY. I would go to this text, and I would just change this. Instead of MyY Angel Lugo, I would put, in this case, Louis-Moreno. I'd hit save, and then once it was all, and then update, of course, and then once that it was all done, I would go over to posts, and then what we do is we have to add each person's Y in here. So we have Trina, we have Mo. So what I do is I literally copy this. So I would clone, right? I'll just do a fake one for Louis right now, just to keep it simple. So if I was doing this, I would see how this says draft. So that clone feature clones it. I can go in here, and instead of saying MyY Trina Bolden, I'm going to put Louis Moreno, and I'll keep this as a draft. I won't actually save it to show up, but this is just so you understand. So if we had just done that where it's /my-y- and then in this case, let me just add Moreno, so we have it exactly as it should be, Moreno, and then right here MyY-Trina. So we're going to change that to Louis Moreno, right? We hit OK. Then we come down here, we change this image. It only takes one image, which is the profile image. So we're going to do that one, and we're going to do this, and then bring in the image again. We're going to look, there it is in our thing, set it, and then once it's set, we're going to hit save. Now we can see that it's there, and then the MyY would be right here, whatever they gave us. So if there had been text in that text box before I closed it in Louis' thing, then I would place it here, right? So let's see, even if I was to put these two, right? Paste it here, and I'd hit save changes. Oh, I don't know what Siri, nothing's up. That's crazy. I have Siri talking to me. So basically, yeah, so we would do the MyY here. We would save it and publish it. I'm just going to keep it as a draft. And then we would double check as we are going through here. Let's just say for these guys, right now, if Louis had the MyWay, this is what it would look like. And then we double check that if I click on this, right, that it opens to the CJ Hawk one and tells the story about CJ Hawk. Okay, and then that's it. And then you can see there's the text, there's CJ, so it's all great. So that ends off the tutorial on how to actually add content into Warrior's Heart, with the first one being meet the team. Other ones will obviously just be pages with inside the system. So one of them that is coming up really soon will be, let me just go to the very top, will be this one where we go into media. So right here, this will be another activity. We have a media page, but we need to post some content to that. So that'll be another task. Again, you just go to pages, type in media, or you can always go this way. If you're here, you can always say edit page, okay, and then add content. Okay, that sums it all up. Thanks very much. Any questions, let us know.